Now the cold cases. It's been 31 years since a Pawtucket woman left her home, never to return again. Her name, Wendy Madden, and the person or people responsible for her death have never been caught. 12 News reporter Kim Kalunian spoke with Wendy's family and joins us now with their desperate plea. Kim?
Well, Shannon, we've spoken with Wendy's brother, John, multiple times. He's been relentless in his quest for justice. But now, for the first time, we're hearing from Wendy's sister, who says the pain of her younger sibling's death has never gone away. Wendy Madden was the baby of the family, the youngest of 3 kids.
Well, it's definitely a void there, you know. But,
Wendy's elder sister, Charlotte, has never spoken about the case publicly.
But you get through it, you know. Grief doesn't ever go away. It just has its own compartment, you know. And I remember everything like it was yesterday.
It was more than 31 years ago, March 13th, 1991. Wendy's body was discovered behind a Pawtucket bar called Jan's Place, now a housing development on Middle Street. She had been strangled. Wendy had last been seen 2 days prior in the area of Cross and Railroad Streets, running an errand to buy cigarettes.
Someone knows something. It's been 31 years.
Back in 2018, we spoke with now retired Pawtucket Police Detective Sue Cormier, who had spent years poring over the case file and conducting interviews, hoping to warm up the decades-old cold case.
Quite close to hopefully being able to present a case to the Attorney General's office.
That was Lincoln Woods. I think that was back in 1973.
Like Cormier, Wendy's brother John has spent the last 3 decades searching for answers.
It would be very big for me, you know, and, you know, even if she wasn't my sister, it's like people shouldn't be getting away with things like that.
John says Wendy rolled in some dangerous circles and may have angered the wrong person. Charlotte says Wendy was a beloved sister and daughter, but her killer robbed her of the chance to be much more.
They had their whole life that she didn't have. You know, it's just, that's how I look at it. As far as I'm concerned, they got away with it. And maybe the person has a conscience. Finally, after 30 years, maybe this will help. And if she's in our minds and in our hearts, then she's not really gone, really. Physically, but not really, you know.
And John Madden says he would like to create a memorial bench to his sister in the park near where she was found. If you have any information on Wendy's case, Pawtucket Police want to hear from you. For more information on this and other cold cases, or to tell us about one you think we should cover, just head to WPRI.com. I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.
Well, Eugene Briggs' sister tells me sometimes people will whisper in the streets about crimes like this one, but not in her brother's case. And she and her family are only left to wonder how many more years will pass before the person responsible is finally revealed. Eugene Briggs Sr. says the pain of losing a child doesn't ease with the passage of time.
He would do anything for you. No wasn't in his vocabulary. I put it this way, I had the son everybody wished they had.
Briggs was on the road driving a big rig back from Pennsylvania when he got the call that his only son, Eugene Jr., had been shot and killed.
It was devastating. And over the years, you never forget. And it never goes away.
It was the evening of December 16th, 2009.
Providence police say they're working the case and following leads from eyewitnesses.
The 28-year-old was on the front porch of his Thackeray Street home when someone approached him and shot twice. His sister Regina rushed to the scene.
I was on the highway and I made it to his house. And the ambulance was still there. He was there. He was in the ambulance. The cops. It was just a mess, like a horrific scene out there.
Regina says Briggs' cousin heard the confrontation from inside the home.
As my cousin said, there was kind of a little tussle. My brother said, you know, are you kidding me? There was a little tussle, the gun went off, and that was it.
Those final words, "Are you kidding me?" haunt the Briggs family to this day. They believe Eugene recognized his killer, but so far that person's identity remains shrouded in mystery. At the time, investigators only had a vague description.
Subject in a gray hoodie was seen running towards Elmwood Avenue. He jumped into the passenger seat of a vehicle that then fled. It's a white vehicle, American midsize.
Briggs' family doesn't know why someone would want to hurt him. They say he was not involved in any criminal activity and worked as a security guard. Police say this case has been tough from day one, and there's never been enough information to make an arrest.
It's almost 13 years, and someone should say something by now. Someone knows. I don't know what they're holding on to, but it's time justice is served for him.
If you have any information about the death of Eugene Briggs, Providence Police want to hear from you. For information on this and other cold cases, or to tell us about one that you think we should cover, head to WPRI.com. I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.
Now, the cold cases. It was a warm July night in Providence, 2015. A young man was gunned down on Nebraska Street. Now, nearly 7 years later, there are still no answers about who took Dimitri Perry's life.
12 News reporter Kim Kalunian spoke with detectives and the victim's mother. She joins us now with where the investigation stands. Kim?
Well, Shannon and Mike, in a nightmare scenario, Annette Perry tells me she was actually on the phone with her son when those fateful gunshots rang out. One of the last things he said to her, "I love you." Summer on Nebraska Street, 2015. The silence of a July night cut by gunfire. 23-year-old Dimitri Perry would become the city's 8th homicide of the year.
He was taken off life support yesterday, and we did expect this to be a homicide from the beginning.
We begin with a homicide investigation. Providence police are searching for a suspect.
Perry, known by friends and family as Monster or Meat, knew he was being followed when he called his mother, Annette Perry, in the early morning hours of July 6th.
He was telling me that someone was chasing him, and I'm telling him to come to the house, but he was going to stop at his friend's house that lived on Nebraska. As I guess he was getting out the car, and he's walking, but we're still having the conversation. And then I heard a gunshot, and I'm like, what was that? And then I heard another one, and the third one, that's the one that hit him.
There was silence on the other end.
And I'm like, you know, come home, and we never did.
Perry was taken off of life support 2 days later. Annette says she has no idea who would want to take her son's life, and in the nearly 7 years since, she's no closer to finding an answer.
Nobody's seen nothing. It's a small street. There's always people out there, but that night no one's seen anything.
Do you believe that?
No. Nope, I don't.
This is definitely a case that we've had some barriers with in the beginning, and we're trying to work through them.
Annette says her son loved his family and friends and was a good kid. Life since his death hasn't been the same.
It's been like a living hell. And still, it'll be 7 years in July and still nothing.
We'll do the best we can to make sure that whoever did this to him will be brought to justice.
If you have any information about the death of Dimitri Perry, Providence Police want to hear from you. For more information on this and other cold cases, or to tell us about one that you think we should cover, just head to WPRI.com. I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.
Now the cold cases. It's been 42 years since the body of a young Providence girl was found discarded in a Wrentham sandpit. Mary Frances Harvey was just 13 years old.
Decades later, the son of the detective who originally worked on the case is hoping forensic evidence will finally unmask her killer. 12 News reporter Kim Kalunian joins us now live in studio with the story. Kim?
Well, Mike and Shannon, Detective James Barrett says DNA evidence is in the process of being retested in this case. For the victim's brother, having an answer about his sister's killer would mean an end to decades of emotional turmoil. Michael Harvey was just 6 years old when his half-sister vanished.
She was my best friend. She was.
Mary Frances Harvey, known as Frankie, was just 13 years old. Michael says she had been staying at a Providence shelter after a fight with their mom and went out the night before Thanksgiving with a friend. That girl returned. Frankie did not. Then, on November 29, 1980, a gruesome discovery. The body of a young woman shot multiple times was found at this sand pit off of Route 1 in Wrentham. Police did not know her identity and were provided with few clues. A letter in her pocket signed by Sharon. The name Paul written on the bottom of her shoe. After a week, police asked the Sun Chronicle to run the girl's photograph.
This is the picture in the newspaper. My aunt and uncle was reading the newspaper from Massachusetts and seeing Frankie's face. And that's how we figured it out. So we really didn't even know she was gone. It broke the family. It really did. It broke the whole family.
While the Harveys began their grieving, Detective John Barrett began working the case, but it eventually turned cold.
And this case troubled him throughout his career.
Today, Barrett's son has picked up where his father left off.
I think that he'd have a smile on his face now, knowing that we were picking it up and trying to work it again.
Detective Sergeant James Barrett says DNA found at the scene was tested once in the late 90s, but he's submitted it again and is hopeful this time for a match.
But I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, DNA advances have gotten so good, you just never know. We're keeping our fingers crossed.
Investigators also have another lead. Shell casings found near Frankie's body match those from another unsolved homicide in Pawtucket that happened 2 years later, meaning the same weapon was used in both slayings.
I'm not a big fan of believing in coincidence. I think that there may be some greater connection between the two.
Michael agrees.
She had street knowledge, but she trusted people. And I think that was her downfall.
She trusted the wrong people.
Yep.
He hopes that after all these years, someone will come forward with a piece of information that could finally crack his sister's case.
It'd mean a lot to have closure. I can move on with my life and stop doing what I'm doing, because it's ruining me.
And if you have any information about the death of Mary Frances Harvey, police want to hear from you. For more information on this and other cold cases, or to tell us about one that you think we should cover, just head to WPRI.com.
Now, the cold cases. What does it take to crack open a case that's gone unsolved for years, maybe even decades? For many investigators, it boils down to dogged detective work, witness cooperation, and advances in DNA technology.
That was the winning trifecta for officers in Central Falls who, just this month, received national recognition for their work in solving a 2007 homicide.
12 News reporter Kim Kalunian joins us now live in studio with the story. Kim?
Well, Mike and Shannon, that 2007 homicide took the life of Jose Rodriguez, and his daughter tells me it felt like an invisible weight was lifted when her dad's killer was finally brought to justice.
2007, July 16th. It was right around lunchtime. We responded to the area of the shooting, which was on Garfield Street, only a block and a half from the police station. When we arrived there, we found our victim, Jose Rodriguez, slumped over in the vehicle.
Jose Rodriguez was behind the wheel of his taxi cab that July day. It was his 42nd birthday. Central Falls police say Jose knew something was off when he picked up a group of young men and called his wife.
He had a gut feeling, I guess, from the the people he had in the cab that something bad was going to happen or could happen to him.
Jose's gut feeling was right. He was shot and killed in cold blood. Witnesses immediately told investigators they saw people running from the crime scene. Major Christopher Reed and Detective Sergeant Jeffrey Arujo were there that day, and they followed the trail to make this discovery. Discarded baseball caps, including this red one, which would ultimately be a key in unlocking the case.
But not that day or that year. Investigators say at the time they didn't have enough solid evidence to put together a case against the suspect. And years turned into nearly a decade before a witness decided to cooperate. And remember that red baseball cap? Well, new DNA technology in 2017 finally led to a match.
We had a confirmation. The hit came back to Ezekiel Johnson, someone we suspected and knew that week of that shooting. We just couldn't build that case. And with that, now we were off and running. Now we had concrete evidence to put him at that scene.
Fast forward to 2018. We were in the courtroom as 28-year-old Ezekiel Johnson was sentenced for Jose's murder. The victim's daughter, Anna Riani, distraught.
For the rest of my life, I will live in a nightmare. For the rest of that murderer's life, he deserves to be behind bars. My dad deserves justice. And Your Honor, excuse me, but you deserve to rot in hell.
While detectives say there were other people with Johnson in the cab that day, they say he was the trigger man.
We always used to use the word justice, and it's a simple word, but it just means so much more than that, because it means so much for Jose Rodriguez, who's passed, but his family too.
And thank you for joining us here.
Earlier this month, Reed and Arujo were among just 18 law enforcement officers across the country to receive the U.S. Attorney General's Award for Distinguished Service in Community Policing, recognized for their relentless pursuit of justice in this case.
This award truly is for Jose Rodriguez and his family.
But their work isn't done.
I relish that moment that we were able to give that one family justice, and then, you know, you're excited right then and there, and then me and Sergeant Arujo looked at each other a couple days later and said, all right, who's next?
So what was the motive here? Reed and Arujo say it was bragging rights, the ability for Ezekiel Johnson to say he had taken someone's life. Johnson, though, maintains his innocence to this day. He even wrote us a letter here at 12 News saying he was not there on the day that Rodriguez was killed. He's currently serving 2 life sentences plus 10 years at the ACI. For more information on this case and others, or to tell us about a cold case that you think we should cover, just head to WPRI.com. Live in studio, I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.
Now, the cold cases. A father and son killed in almost identical ways, 16 years apart. Neither crime has been solved.
Our Kim Kalunian spoke with the victim's family and police, trying to answer the questions that remain about the murders of Jamal Bailey and Jamal Contreras.
Jamal was my heart and my soul. He was mama's boy, and we were close.
Nora Bailey holds on to the memories of her son gunned down on the streets of Providence in the early morning hours of July 29, 2002.
Police say 24-year-old Jamal Bailey was behind the wheel of this car when someone fired bullets at him.
Just hours earlier, Nora had visited Jamal playing chess.
I went and checked on him. And he was like, I love you, Ma. But something about that, I love you, Ma, that day, was kind of weird. But I kind of shook it off.
That night, Nora's family woke her with news that Jamal had been shot. He crashed his car into a pole on Prairie Avenue and was pronounced dead on the scene.
My world just tipped upside down.
16 years went by before the unthinkable happened again. Jamal's son had been killed in a nearly identical manner. It was January 23rd, 2018.
Police investigated the crime scene with a focus on a crashed red car. Providence police said the victim, 22-year-old Jamal Contreras of Providence, was rushed to Rhode Island Hospital where he died.
Both men had spent time behind bars, and media reports show Bailey had survived a previous shooting while Contreras had been shot at a year and a half before his death. Police say both men were targeted, but there's no indication their shootings were in any way connected. So it's just a very sad coincidence that both father and son were killed in the same way.
Correct.
It's kind of hard.
The elder Jamal also left behind a daughter. Najee was just a little girl when her father was killed.
You know, you always cherish them. I have pictures all over my wall. I have pictures of us as a baby, you know. I cherish them all.
But when tragedy struck again and took her brother, it shattered her world.
And I don't know, like I said, when I went into the hospital, I just seen him laying there. I just felt so like helpless. Like, you know, it was just like.
For Nora Bailey, it was like history repeating itself.
And when I lost his son and I was called to come to the hospital, all I seen was my son.
Now Nora and Najee are hopeful whoever was responsible for the murders that rocked their family will pay for their crimes.
So hopefully if we can't get justice for my father, I would definitely love to get justice for my brother as well.
And Providence police tell me they are hopeful that one day new leads will lead to a break in those cases. They urge anyone with information to contact them. And for more information on this or other cold cases, or to tell us about one that you think we should cover, just head to WPRI.com. I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.
Now, the cold cases. A witness to a murder becomes a victim himself. It was 1975 when a Warwick man vanished.
His body was ultimately found, but his killer's identity remains a mystery. 12 News reporter Kim Kalunian joins us now with the story of Henry Reeves.
Behind the industrial buildings and apartment complexes off busy Plainfield Pike in Johnston runs Simmons Brook, a spot two young brothers were scouring for rabbits in December of 1975. The pair found more than they bargained for, a shallow grave barely concealing a man's near skeletal remains. He was 31-year-old Henry Reeves.
He's a really good soul. He'd do anything to help somebody out.
Christine Hodgkinson is Reeves' younger sister. She was just a teenager when her brother died, but she vividly remembers how his body was found 3 months after his family reported him missing, and that his disappearance came just days after he witnessed a murder. It was September 1975, and Reeves was working underneath a car at Quonset Motor Sales in North Kingstown.
And a gentleman walked in, he told me. He said a few seconds later, two other gentlemen walked in. He heard a gunshot. They did not know he was underneath the vehicle. He didn't know what to do. We had one of them long wrenches. He figured out which gentleman had the gun. He smacked him across the shins. The guy dropped the gun. He grabbed it and pushed himself out from underneath the vehicle into the road that was in back of the Quonset Motors. He ran and jumped in his van with the gun, and so they wouldn't shoot him. He didn't know what else to do. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Media reports from the time show 5 people were ultimately charged in connection with the death of that man, a Cranston car dealer named John Roderick. One of the suspects never made it to trial. He was found strangled inside his jail cell. His death ruled a homicide. Others were adjudicated. Some had ties to organized crime.
And these people back then, they thought they were everything. What they didn't realize is they were ruining people's lives.
Reeves disappeared just days after that murder at the auto body shop. An autopsy revealed he had been shot from behind 4 times. His van was found in pieces in a nearby junkyard. Hodgkinson says the day her brother disappeared, he was on his way to an attorney's office to discuss the murder he saw, but he never made it.
He wanted me to take the ride, and I didn't take the ride. I didn't know it was a kid. If he may have saved his life, or I might have been right with him.
In a statement to 12 News, Johnston's police chief says they seek to bring those responsible for all homicides to justice, and Reeves' case is no different. If you know anything about this murder, Johnston police want to hear from you. And for more information on this and other cold cases, or to tell us about one you think we should cover, just visit WPRI.com. I'm Kim Kalunian, 12 News.